Good morning, everyone. Good morning, dear colleagues. This is to welcome you at our forum on drug modernization. We're talking about modernization of the pharmaceutical area, and we're going to listen to specialists, experts in pharmaceuticals and digitalization and other things. And we're glad that we have involved many specialists that are doing or planning to do digitalization, or they are thinking about what to start with. So let's do a sound check. While we're still getting connected, and if it goes wrong, then please write us on the chat and let's sort it out. It seems to be so far so good. So let's continue with a little overview of our platform. And this event is available in a few languages, and you can switch the languages to hear the right one in translation. And this button is on the central screen of our broadcast. Please do not forget about the Q&A session we're going to have, and our speakers got prepared with their interesting themes. So we'll be very glad if you take an active part in our discussion and if you ask your questions to the speakers. Now you can do it right during the presentation and on completion of the presentation, but please mention the speaker so that I understand you're asking your questions to. Please matchmaking, use the opportunity and go on the participants list by pressing the right button on the central screen, and please meet our speakers and our other colleagues. And this is a conference to create some sort of pool of people in the area of their proper interests. And I would like to especially reiterate the virtual exhibition. We got a button under the central screen of our broadcast, and you will be able to see the most upmarket solutions on today's topic. If you've got some more housekeeping questions, please write us on the chat, and we'll be pretty quickly responding and to your questions. They say that they don't hear us on the Russian channel. Oh, do you hear? Hear her good? So far, so good. Only one person said they didn't hear. Okay, anyone. Anyway, I will continue. Today, we're swinging at a very good and very volumetric theme, and that's 4.0 industry. And that concept was developed back in 2017, and its aim is to help pharmaceuticals to create a fully automated environment that will provide automation from the beginning to the end of designing. When getting ready to the event, we have highlighted that the facilities, the manufacturing facilities level of preparation is different. Nevertheless, there is a common thing because the availability of data is important for the digitalization. These trends include the need for quick and safe access to the information of system providing for the transparency throughout the production chain and laboratory, and also data analysis for AI and machine learning. Today, we have invited integrators to equipment suppliers, and we're expecting them to shed light on what advantages the pharmaceutical facilities, production facilities might get right from the horse's mouth. You will hear about the efforts and their successes when it comes to implementation and digitalization. The first speaker is Alexander Yurchak. He's the president of the Association of Industrial Automation Industries, and he will talk about what aspects should precede, let's say, the beginning of healthy implementation of the digitalization concept. Alexander, good morning. Good morning, Svetlana. Good morning, dear colleagues. Very pleasant, very happy to be at this webinar today. It's been not the first years that we've been cooperating with the magazine. Sorry if I'm naming your magazine wrong. I can't hear you, Alexander. Well, I put the sound on. Now I'm going to switch to the Russian channel. Yes, I should have done. Okay, good morning. Good morning. Hello, dear colleagues. It's a pleasure to be with you. And your association, your agency, or our partner has been for a few years, and Every time we're moving, we're promoting the theme of Industry 4.0, and I've got a few slides on this theme, and I will present them gladly. Can you see my screen? Today, I would like to come up with innovation systems, how much important they are, ecosystems, and how to build them up, and how we're building them up in our association. A few words about our association. That's an association of industrial automation facilities in Ukraine, and we're putting together representatives of different areas. There are industries, several production facilities, there are IT things, there are global guys, there are local guys, there are startups, universities, machine building ones, and as a rule, they're united by some common need that deals with staff training, innovation development, access to innovation funds, exporting, and of course, some sort of commonly shared industrial standards and professional standards. Association is being tuned for collective assets, collective tools. We have a technical committee, 185 industrial automation. And on top of that, there is a network of centers, Industry 4.0. There are expert groups. There's a committee, organizing committee, Industry 4 of Ukraine, that provides lobbying to the government of our program. And there are other guys, and I will mention them. The question is, why in the world do these companies join the association? Why are they keeping joining us? Just as any professional association, at national level, we're contributing to the resolution of some commonly shared problems. So we talk about Industry 4.0, what we've been seeing all around the industries, all around the areas. That's a battlefield for talents, for staffs. And today we can see how industry guys are losing in terms of this, are losing to our counterparts, their rivals from the IT industry that is washing the staffs away, washing the best talents away into their area. And that's also IT and immigration. That's another problem. When we talk about the innovation digitalization, we need to state that there is no country in the world like Ukraine is, like a developing country, but anyway, we cannot downsize. We cannot mend this gap. This gap actually to the developed countries is growing. Talking about, so we cannot be lazy. We cannot afford being lazy. Integration to global chains, to global grids. There are commonly European programs like Horizon Europe for billions of euros, and this is actually joint programs by developers, and we're not using completely these programs. We're not using them to the full extent. We can also talk about export. We can also talk about standardization, and I will mention, I will expand on the latter a little bit later. And first of all, I would like to talk about the basic provisions of what Industry 4.0 is about. And here we have adapted some sort of chart from Price Waterhouse, and we have added the classic 3.0 technologies on top. You can see the segments, and actually on the basis of that, because we're talking about industries where with full integration vertically and horizontally, and these are the industries where there is not only smart production, but the products and services are smart enough. And of course, they're switching to a new business model. The new business models as service provision models, but the key is data processing and data analyticals. In Ukraine, we're pointing out to the fact that the average automation level is about 50% for the industries, and we've been not past the 3.0 stage. So many of the systems that you can see on top there, and so partners will talk about the system who are system integrators. So far, no, not all the industries have them, have this 3.0. And at the same time, we're talking about the fact that the modern requirements and the modern world, the modern industries in the developed countries are switching more and more to the 4.0 technology, like AI, like a digital thing, Internet of Things platform, and there is a certain gap to be mended. That looks like we're not completely done with these technology. We're not completely implemented with these technologies, and we need to be implementing them. That's the matter of your capacities. And the people that are doing strategy and facility development, they have introduced the idea of a digital jump, or digital hop, or leap, rather. And so we need to understand we need to make that leap to move over to 4.0. Otherwise, we're losing our capacity. And another question is subject to a big discussion that comes to decision makers like CEOs or our systemic partners on Pharma as well. If you take our country, then here, as before, we have a predominant discourse. We provisionally call it like 2.0, 3.0 standard instruments and tools for industrial developments, which is cheap loans. That's what we need. We need industrial fleets or parks in Ukraine. We need to do more promotion, some innovation. And also we need to be focused more on the innovators, that the 4 arrows, 4 strategies that on top of the agenda of our counterparts from the other industrial associations, even from the governments. At the same time, we're talking about what? That developed countries, they have an absolutely different agenda with roadmaps. They were also talking about the special legislative measures and how to stimulate innovations. We're talking about special development funds, where every industry has their own accelerators, incubators, and accelerators. We're talking about expert opinion, expert assessment centers for the particular things, and so on and so forth. And all these matters are very, very much relevant and feasible in our association. In the theme that we're on top of, which is Industry 4.0, makes the agenda be of all the industries, of all the enterprises and manufacturers, different amounts for the development. It's a question of billions of euros and a question of where you take them. Again, it winds up with the attempts of the average size industries to make a digital transformation. It's not realistic to do it alone. Back in 2017, we have proposed to the market a framework on how to move within this strategy of 4.0. Any industry, as we assert, can become smart, can become modern within the strategy of 4.0 if it uses smart solutions, smart products, and as an option, the right suppliers. They're serving the vendors, machine building companies, then instrument making companies, integrators, IT developers, software developers. So these enterprises can supply those smart products and smart solutions if they're based on strategy 4.0, if they have a modern innovation culture, and of course, if they have some developed capacities or capabilities, new skills and talent management, and so on and so forth. And in turn, all of that is based on innovation systems. And in a country that's moving towards strategy 4.0, those things should be developed, innovation funds and centers and expert opinion and things like that. And back in 2017, we found that if we carefully analyze the general situation in Ukraine, then it will look as follows. We have plenty of those components, and we can cross them out pretty boldly. But most important thing on top of that is that innovation ecosystem is the root for all the structure. Unless we have it, there is no exit to digital information, no outlets. On top of that, the culture of the industries themselves is questionable as well. And for the most part, the Ukrainian software development, they're outsourced. So that was the situation back in 2017. And of course, in 2018, when we offered our strategy, national strategy of Industry 4.0 from the Cabinet of Ministers, then the top matter became this particular system. We have developed a more developed framework for this ecosystem that is demonstrating more elements, more details. That's not the EU, that's our end users. There are six most major groups. I've already mentioned them. And the point is that any innovation, whatever you take, new product, new digital innovation, from the first stage, it goes around, all these zones. That's the innovation zone, and that's the incubation zone, that's the testing zone, that's the experience zone, and then it comes up to the market, gets around to the market, and there are all the areas present that should be here, unless you have those innovation cycles, unless you have a particular industrial branch and in a regional technological segment. Most likely, of course, the innovation will go into the market, they will come into the market, but it will only come as import, as part of an import. But if we take the situation in pharma, we will ask ourselves why actually haven't we seen probably here there is something, but not such so versatile. The modern equipment and machine lines are all imported, foreign made, because the Ukrainian machine builders once didn't take care, didn't see to the availability potential of all of those components. Of course, there's plenty of those elements, and building up such developed innovation systems existing in developed countries is very complicated if you go from bottom to top. And of course, state aid is needed here. What our association is doing, we're trying to at least manage here on this level some strategic priorities. We're building certain chains where we talk about where the focus should be, where the bottlenecks are. And in particular, we know perfectly well that Ukraine has plenty of universities, plenty strong universities, technical centers, many private laboratories, and we're trying to, as much as possible, involve that centers of expert evaluation that are called 4.0 industry centers, and we're trying to deal with many other European funds that stimulate the development of innovation. But one of the bottlenecks here is now what's the difference of our industrial sectors? That here, of course, any innovation may be tested. There should be modern laboratories, expert assessment centers where any innovation should be checked on. Otherwise, no industrial player will let it into their facility. That's a very much to the point matter, but here comes the infrastructure matter. If there is modern testing laboratories, just modern laboratories are involved in our expert opinion system. But here the key point is the initial basic point. That's the clusters, and that's the branch associations, cluster associations. Their role is to manage this cycle. And now we're setting up some priorities on the level of the state, and we're setting those priorities, and we're working actually with the ministries so that to shift their focus, the results right into those priorities that are necessary for our branches. I already said that I'm a developer of National Strategy Industry 4.0. It was developed back in 2018 for 3 years. There are a whole portfolio of projects, even the innovational ecosystem. You can see the pictograms, the green color is where we have some substantial movement from A to B, and yellow in the beginning of the process, and red where we have no success at all. Unsuccessful attempts. And you can see that within the last 3 years, many things became yellow or became green, which is the result of the work of our partners, of our ecosystem. And I will talk about some projects in more detail. One of them concerns the branch digitalization of our ecosystem. And this is accounting of the Ukrainian developers who are innovators now. There is about 100 innovation companies split into 16 segments, and this landscape is a tool for our end users. And if you're looking for them in Ukraine, there are things that are into IoT or robotics or big data or machine learning, and there are there's this landscape, and we have a more developed description of this landscape, so you are free to choose any supplier. We're also popularizing the technology and the best cases, best practices, because mostly the industrialists say show how it works practically, because no one is satisfied with just one page of description or one page of video, one uh, 5 minutes of video. The specialist wants to know in detail how it works. So we are creating those cases about our champions, our best industries, 4.0 that work in the 4.0 format. We have that in metallurgy and machine building. It's good to see this case already appearing in the pharma industry today. We're gonna get some more description on of Eurofarms, the Eurofarm system, and that's one of the guys that our association is helping, and we're also doing exchange between the leaders, so between the industries and the facilities. So here we got the photographs on how Interpipe is exchanging Metinvest with Metinvest. That's mostly professional exchanges that our association is organizing, but as experience shows, something gets in the way of the enterprises to do such exchanges, and that's not only the matter of who has what and who is cooler, but how to get equal to meet some world standards like MES or TOIP or APS or technical maintenance and repair. There are analytical reports and reviews, though it's as of now 2019, but it's still feasible, it's still relevant. Yet another project that there is a network of networks of expert evaluation 4.0 and IAM clusters, and we have clusters organized in Kiev and Kharkov and Mykolaiv, Zaporozhye. The cluster is covering already 5 regions instead of 3 previously, and that's another important tool for pharma as well. Yet another instrument is Technical Committee 185 that creates standards. Here there's lots of white books, white papers, reports, and I think my colleagues will also mention how they use those standards. I've already mentioned Standard 4.0, and our lead provider, service provider, is Alexander Pama from the Food Technology Institute or university, and what they do is market enlightenment not by articles but on the level of providing professional services and providing teaching. In particular, Alexander and his team are doing trainings on the courses that are still relevant in pharma, which is batch control, which is MOM, which is prescription productions management, or just system for production management, MOM, and this is all based on the traditional technologies, ILC, PLC, or from the known vendors. And there is plenty of different courses. There's also innovational developments. This is past framework. The platform, independent system, just to independent carcass or outline efficiency, again, based on standardization. So this framework is based on the standards that are cited here. First of all, the batch control standard that provides quite an economy when it comes to the development of some difficult projects. Clusters, I already mentioned something about the clusters. First of all, we're developing those communities where the focus is on the value-added chain that is inside the regions, and of course it deals with the particular areas. For example, if we take Zaporozhye, that's a higher focus on metallurgy and casting. In Kharkov, that's machine building of different kinds, and of course it is all about the building up of those regional chains. Yet another project that is one of the most complicated. This is making a roadmap for digital transformation. We had such an attempt with Ukrzaliznytsia which is railways, and also with food industry. This is the question about how those mid-sized and small businesses will make that digital transformation, because I know there were attempts made to build a strategy of digitalization for large holdings, and DTech has this strategy in energy, and there is Maranovka Bakery and others, but we never heard about the roadmaps with digital transformation for pharmaceuticals, and that's a typical matter for food industry and for machine building, for many other branches, because there's plenty of small size and average size businesses. They don't have any resources for that digital leap strategies. In this case, we just put a group of enterprises together and industry together and then move along some road through milestones of this transformation. In particular, for those metallurgists, there was a framework like fifth element built. There are 5 elements of digital transformation. First of all, on how to do the hierarchy, KPI, IT technologies should be used, of course, when it has to come with a digital things, to the question of what this or another technology give, how they contribute to the KPIs. No one can clearly explain that normally. And then after that, it is followed by building up a strategy for the digital leap from 3.0. We need to move. We need to move further. We have a director of Ukr. He says that you cannot switch from collective farmers to be a leader, individual farmer, and there are some steps, and they could be done by one industry, by several industries, by group of industries. Digital culture is number 3, and how to be more flexible, more open-minded. There's plenty of expertise that's been saved, even with the large holdings. We have our own format for technological Innovation Day, where the cornerstone is business case creation. That's a methodology. And what is it saying? There are use cases, some innovative solutions. As a rule, how do we use the machine learning, AI, or how do we do a vertical integration? Normally, those things are available for specialists. And the first persons, the CEOs, cannot really understand what effect they provide and how that goes with the top challenges of the industry. That's top level. First of all, we need to be able to operate on that to answer the question on what are the commonly shared challenges to the industries in the competition, to relate to 3.0, where we need to name particular business cases. Sometimes we have an idea about the level, but an answer to the question of what is not working, what is not working. So what's your expectation in innovation and so on and so forth, and you need very clearly you need to record the answers very clearly, that there is a traditional solution of Western integrators, but they are very costly. That's the most banal answer. So therefore, if the same innovative solutions are being offered by a local integrator, that is far more beneficial, obviously. And these are the formats that are pretty much developed today. And now we are discussing with Galina, with our other partners, on how to make those formats for the pharma, where within 2 days we can come up with particular tools to the pharma for innovation development. There's plenty of them, and at the same time we also do this matchmaking. On the one hand, business case to be looked at by the customer. On the other hand, we filter and present to you a couple dozen best local developers and innovators. So at the output, you have a particular innovator map for the industry. So we may talk about some development projects on how to be supported by local and regional authorities, and also image for the key players in the area, in the industry, in the branch. I'm practically done. We're using in our work some sort of ideology, think big, start small, scale fast. That's a slogan. When we see a big picture, we understand we have a place in the global world. When we then start our strategies, we start small, from smaller projects, what we can do on our own, and then you scale it fast. The top thing, what I said about the last things, the little technological things that you can repeat regularly in different formats, and they're scalable very well. But of course, it takes partnership with lead customers, with lead integrators, and of course with our industrial partners. Here come my whereabouts, plenty of websites, and my time is out already, and I'm glad to answer your questions in the chat. Alexander, no questions so far. I can answer my question. I can ask my questions while those ones are being written. From your experience, if you take a pharma industry, how do we actually start the learning or the implementation of the 4.0 concept? And who should do this? Who should be the flag person, the technical director or investor and technical directorship is always the initiator, somebody running the ASU or IT department. The best verse in this problem. And first of all, there should be an initial strategic session conducted where on the one hand, we are sharing our best practices and we're explaining the information equalization, what is Industry 4.0, what are the best practices, how to approach that. On the other hand, those people that I mentioned who are the initiators, they can clearly explain the bottlenecks they have. For example, one of the bottlenecks in pharma is the so-called different controllers, different lines and machines that are not integrated into a single control system. How do we put them together? Based on what standards, on what practices? That's an open question for many industries. And here we just share our best practices that Ukraine and the world have. Here we have the notion of standards on how to do those things according to international standards. And this is how we make the first step to the information equalization. Then it follows by audit and diagnostics, and professional integrators or auditors are included with their big experience, with their big knowledge of technology and the branch. And after that, we can already talk about some sort of strategy, some sort of roadmap, when it's pretty clear about the bottlenecks and what should be the number one, number two, number three. Thank you, Alexander. No questions so far, and now we're going to switch to our next speaker. If there are more questions during the conference, we will pass them on to you, and hopefully, which is the second experience that will follow on doing this kind of event, and I hope for an active participation of our pharma industries. And when it comes to the implementation of the 4.0 concept, to understand that DTech and Interpipe now are the best practice here as well. Thank you, Svetlana. Staying in touch. Okay, and then let's switch to our next speaker, and I would like to introduce Marco Cesare. He's from the corporate communications department from EMA. EMA, we knew them as the manufacturer of technological and packaging devices or equipment. And today we're going to find out the other side, the integration of cloud solutions for the pharma. Good morning, Marco.
Good morning. Good morning to everybody. Okay. Can you hear me? Yes? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you so much. Can you see also my screen? Great. So thank you so much. I will talk to you today about the power of the connected machine. But first of all, I would like to introduce EMA. EMA is a world leader in the design and manufacture of the automatic machine for the processing and packaging of pharmaceutical in first steps, but also for cosmetic, food, tea, and automation market. We are a global supplier for many countries and many states, and we count on about 6,500 employees distributed in at least 49 manufacturing facilities all over the world. Our export is focused on is focused out of Italy, and we can count on a worldwide sales and service network. Foundation stays in 1961, and in the last years, EMA launched a series of projects to focus on digital transformation. Digital transformation that interested the many markets of our corporation, and we saw, as we see, and how I told you before, we are focused on pharma market, but we face also food and dairy market, tea, coffee and beverage, confectionery, automation, tobacco. So we can count on a very wide experience of technological innovation and technological focused on the packaging machines. In all of these markets, we can count of a wide experience, especially focus for the digital activities that have been developed into IMA Digital. IMA Digital is a very wide project that interested all of our markets and all of our business units. It's a very complex and articulated initiatives that saw 7 different main areas of organization. Into each of these areas, many projects have been developed to create innovation, to deliver innovation to our partners and customers. In particular, I will focus during this intervention, during this talk, on the areas related to the connected machines. But we invited you to give a look on our website to explore all the different areas related to the digital service for manufacturing, the digital training for operators and production lines, the possibility to introduce advanced cobots, and all the wide world of digital engineering, the connected enterprise, and the possibility that the digital transformation delivered to improve and to expand the power of the digital organization. In particular, for the connected machine, that is just the first one of the projects based into IMA Digital, we created a design to capture, to collect the data from our machine and to transfer it through a series of passages and technologies and platforms to our customers, just to create more opportunities for our customers themselves, allowing them to control, to monitor, and to increase the production efficiency. This flow is composed by different elements. As you see on my screen, the possibility to connect a machine, that machine that connected is able to transfer the production data to a ForGate. A ForGate is our solution dedicated to the cybersecurity. It has been designed with the support of our Israeli partner TerraFence to be an integrated hardware and software solution to block and to preserve the confidentiality of data and the touchiness of operation and operator safety. So the data collected on the machine pass through a ForGate, our solution for the cybersecurity. The data goes to our IMA data room, that is the place where we collect and storage all the data, and we're able to process and analyze this data, and then the possibility to get the data on the data room, we are able to transfer all the file to IMA Sentinel and to IMA Control Room, the final services that we are able to provide to our customer. IMA Sentinel in particular is a platform for 24/7 autonomous monitoring of the system performance wherever they need. So our customer, our partner through IMA Sentinel are able to monitor all the production processes of the connected machine online or lines of machines. So it's possible to compose different machines together to give a wider look of the production. This allows the customer to be able to control whatever he needs, whatever is possible, the production through simple and automated charts and graphics. The other possibility that we are able to offer to our customer is the chance to involve a control room, a team, a special place where a team of experts are able to analyze, control, and provide special analysis and reports to our customer with suggestion, with smart indication to increase the productivity. Just to give you a more details on Aforgate, our solution dedicated to the cybersecurity, well, we saw into this simple scheme as the data from the connected machine are able to pass through a data collector and to a data center that send the data on the IMA data cloud. Between the data center and data collector, we created a Terafence data diode that is the physical element that allow the manufacturer to stop every signals, every data send from the inside to the outside of the plant. This allowed to physically stop the pass of information from the inside to the outside. And this is the very difference between the other solution that the market offers in terms of cybersecurity. In fact, the main platforms on the markets are basically software solution. Instead, we are able to offer an hardware, a software solution, of course, but also an hardware. So the possibility to block every interference from the site through the use of a physical button. Just to give you an idea, Aforgate has been tested from different agencies specialized in cybersecurity that can testimony the security of Aforgate in terms of cyber attacks, on prevention of cyber attacks from the external of the production site of our customer. In addition, Aforgate obtained the security level assessment EAC 62443, an international standard of cybersecurity that improve and also certify the security of Aforgate. So we saw that there is the possibility from a connected machine of our installed base to transfer the data collection to the data collected from the machine to Aforgate. In a second step, the data goes to the data room, that is a physical space, but also located on cloud, where the data collected from the machine reside. Into the data room. The data room is based on PCT ThingsWorks technology. That PCT is our partner in this kind of project, and maintain a very high level standard for the cybersecurity. So no one is able to increase and to penetrate this special space. The other services that I mentioned you before is IMA Sentinel. IMA Sentinel is the dedicated platform specially designed for our customer to access from personal PC, but also through a special app to monitor the production. It's very simple, it's very intuitive. Is it possible to analyze all the production through simple chart, for example, the OEE, the progress of batch, and all a series of other indications to improve productivity. In particular, Sentinel is in the mobile version able to guide, to lead the manufacturer in improve the efficiency of the machine, but also of the lines. And we saw, especially in the pharma market, that is really useful and really appreciate for our customer the possibility to be guided from an efficiency navigator. So a special features that allow the customer to observe and to understand in a very intuitive way what to do to increase production. And also the other main features, the batch navigator allows the customer to also improve in a second way, in a second step, the process related to the batches. This particular app and platform is, of course, available for all the new kind of machine, but is it possible to set also on the machine already in production? So this makes this platform really usable and really versatile for all kind of machine and for capable of collect data from all PLC. The other service that we are able to and that we saw is really appreciated from our pharma customers, especially related to the Pharma 4.0 technology, is the possibility to count of a control room, a very dedicated space that we are creating in many different production sites of our corporation, the possibility to distribute competencies thanks and the introduction of these special teams that 24/7 are able to monitor the production of our customer, are able to create special reports, are able to support a first level of help in case of problems on the productions. This is really useful because it allows the customer to receive support in most of the problem, or in case to accelerate the procedure to solve problems in case the problem itself is particularly complex. In that case, we can pass on a second level of support because the control room can afford and can count also on other specialists able to focus on the particular market of our customer. I would like also to introduce the possibility to structure digital training related not only to the machine, but also to the Industry 4.0 solution that I showed you before. Digital training that we structured in different phases. As you see, as how you are seeing from my slide, the possibility to create digital classroom training also for remote and e-learning activity before the delivery of an equipment in a production site. So this allows many advantages. The possibility to train the operators before the production starts, before the delivery and installation of the machine, with a very consistent cost save and cost time in terms of production. By this way, also there is no need to use a machine already in production in case, and adding also more value for the production of our customer. After instead that a machine already started at the production or is already in production, there is the possibility to integrate the digital classroom training and with the e-learning modality. E-learning modality is a special modality that allows to the operator to improve autonomously all the concepts and all the contents learned in the classroom training. There is the possibility to add a third option, that is the training on the job. Training on the job is the possibility to use HoloLens or tablet with a special app to increase the efficiency and the maintenance procedures on the machine. So through the use of IMA Sentinel, IMA Control Room, the possibility to structure and create digital training, we are able to offer to our customer the possibility to really control the pharma machines, increasing productivity. And in case this is not enough, we are able to offer also remote assistance solution through the use of HoloLens tool, to the use of tablet ready, through the use of Quick Hit. Just to give the customer all the possibility to receive support, not only physical, but also remote support from any country and any production site provided by IMA. That's my presentation, and I invite you to visit IMA Digital on our corporate website, www.ima.it.
Thank you, Marco, for your presentation. Looks, maybe you did some analyticals. Do you think that Eastern European companies are ready for solutions like IMA is providing?
We are absolutely ready. We already, we are not talking about pilot project. All the services and the solution that I spoke before are already in production, and we activated many customers in this sense to offer all these kind of services. The analytics offer us a very interesting point of view, and we are also already introduced a machine learning solution that increase more the possibility to make more efficient the production.
And these solutions are, so these solutions are available with only opening lines, only starting up lines, or can they already be connected to the older lines already in operation in a facility?
Well, is it possible to connect all the kind of machines? So old ones and new ones, operating and not operating. Of course, there is a work to do on the not operating lines, but it's not impossible. It's really possible, and it offers many opportunities.
I got you. Thank you very much, Marco, for your presentation. We're going to continue, and then I will say goodbye so far, and we're going to invite the next speaker. Thank you, Marco, for being with us today.
My pleasure.
I will start the introduction of our next speaker. That's in the South Ukraine, and they specialize in digital transformation of industries. That's actually managing the production, that's managing the quality, that's energy resources, that's Industry 4.0, industrial cloud platform, analytics, and so on. Vladimir Vetrakin, who's with us, will talk in more detail about all these, and she will use the more available, more understood language to you. Can you hear me, Svetlana? Yes, I can hear you well. Hello, dear colleagues. My name is Vladimir Patrachil, and I'm from Indo-South Ukraine. We're based in Kiev, and we specialize in dispatcherization system and improving the efficiency of production. Our project is based on world's leader solution in industrial digitalization, industrial IT for food industries and pharmaceuticals. We use in particular J Digital solutions. Just a little bit about the company J Digital. J Digital is part of General Electric. General Electric has a number of productions like aviation, healthcare, and so on, and they have a subordination that is doing medical equipment with the healthcare, GS healthcare. So for the digital transformation and to improve the efficiency of production, G Digital was created. And when it was just being founded, it involved IT developers for the automation system that had already been used on the market a long time. So up until today, J Digital is a company that's been manufacturing software for more than 30 years for the automation and to improve the efficiency. Digital solutions and products based on G Digital have been implemented in more than 40% by companies from the Fortune 500 list. So what's the most important thing about the G Digital decisions, solutions? What makes it different? That's the unique approach to digitalization by comprehensive solution, by a simple single soul setting of the virtual industry model. So this model that's created within the project, it gives an unprecedented level of analysis, accounting, reporting, and understanding of situation. G Digital says that over 79% companies see in the digital transformation the backup of their ongoing improvement of efficiency. So the software by G Digital is at the basis of these operations and supply chains. Digital technologies allow one to achieve new samples, specimen of productivity and quality for throughput as well. So this solution, the recent solution, allows for a 25% rise in the overall efficiency of the equipment, 25% spoilage of down, but in spoilage, and 34%, 30 to 40% is the economy of production. So now the question is how to start this digital transformation and how to invite, how to choose the integrator is pretty complicated issue. And I would like to deal with three most important points that from our experience we can tell to the customer. Number one, when you choose a solution, it is necessary to pay attention to the fact that this solution should be go hand by hand with international standards and best practices. For management, it's very often enough to say that Pfizer or where else it works and it will work here, it's understood. But when we talk about standards, it's often omitted this requirement. It is not obvious. So if we implement the system, if we choose a solution that coincides with international standards, the situation might be unpleasant. If we don't take the IT 64 5264 standard industrial integration, then you can get an automation that we're observing at industries when there's plenty of disconnected software programs and systems at an industry, and you get a bunch of contradictory data. But if there is a system without support, without meeting the standard 64443, which is cyber safety of industrial systems, that might bring about some fatal consequences for the equipment and the commercial data. There is also a number of other important standards in the area of automation. ISO 101, for example, is an efficient standard for man-machine interface, for dispatching and data analysis. Or, for example, ISO 18.2 is alarm management strategy for the processing of notifications, or 22400, that's the production KPI. That's a whole set of standards, in other words, that is necessary to make the solution be usable. On top of that, we're talking about pharmaceuticals, which is stringently regulated production, which requires their own standards like GMP and others, not only for the whole solution, for the whole project, but also it's important that those GMP requirements be used when it comes to developing a software. So the software should support those standards. So therefore, this software should have a number of some specific properties, for example, related to user identification, auditor control, recording, and so on. The second thing I would like to mention is that there is integration with this development stage of information technologies, and the framework of a 4.0 system, and industry should have a single information space. That's the ideology of Industry 4.0. That's digitalization. That's the main trend of this industry. Digitalization of production processes, the provision of their full traceability. According to the data from abroad and from our countries, the most important digitalization problem is the vertical integration. I'm citing here a report where we heard the president at the very beginning of the conference. So that's their report, and they have analyzed the condition of the information systems in Ukraine. And the conclusion was as follows, that let us say ERP developed systems is what every industry has, but without the automation system, production doesn't work. So this particular cap of a single information space is mostly observed on the 3rd to 8th level. There is also a horizontal integration between information system and systems and automation systems. For example, you can't really efficiently control the production unless you have quality data, or for example, unless you have energy consumption data, or for example, some warehousing stocks data. So whenever you build up such a system, there's always the task of integration. That's let alone the fact that any industry works according to orders that are formed on top there by management. So all these industrial information systems should be connected. That's the top job that is done when it comes to this kind of project. Number 3, it's very important that the data in this system be gathered automatically, because often we go industry to industry, production to production, and we see that everyone is into the organization and improvement of production. Most of all, that is done via reporting. So for the management, production does reporting. For example, once a month, once monthly, once every quarter, and so on, with KPIs, with performances, and so on. We can see recently that situation is changing towards unfolding these systems for KPI calculation. And this data already, they try to collect them, not just for the report, but very close to the pace of the production. However, we can see that the vast majority of the systems, in the vast majority of the system, the analytical data is based on manual entry of data. So how can it look? For example, we can see some incidents where operators of work centers and other personnel now have the obligation to enter data manually. There could be plenty of information, plenty of products, plenty of volume to be typed in manually. So the results of this manual typing in, or system that is based on typing in manually, depends on the good faith of the operating personnel, the operators, and so on, other people that are responsible for production. So in fact, according to management data, the results of the work of these systems, manually based, are impossible to be used because they contravene the real state of affairs. And this is what GMP is talking about. And it's about the fact that the data quality and availability is a key requirement to those standards. So automatic data collection is a must do. It must be in these systems. Now we're offering a solution to improve the production efficiency, to improve the efficiency of the use of the equipment, its productivity and its quality, to diminish the downtime and the losses. And this is achieved by digitalization and by transition from manual to automated mode of tracking down the work of the equipment and personnel in real time. When we talk about real time, that means that management can do by causal relations analysis, make the most efficient decision. And the system offers the integration of the all-important IT and digitalization systems. And the first step is always the unfolding of a single dispatching system as a basic integration platform for the production system. Then it is followed by analytics development. Yet another important point is that this system is not implemented as just an information system. It should meet in international standards as a single information infrastructure that, first of all, deals with most basic jobs like data collection, storage, and transformation. Then analytical modules that could be different depending on what jobs for the management, and they use the analytical module. They take this information they need from the common pool. Yet another thing is there is an opinion when they say that pharma companies manufacture more documents than products. It speaks about the fact that there's plenty of documents in pharmaceuticals. So if you unfold this system, you roll out this system, our new system as integration platform, you get a single resource of not contravening each other data. So the integration of this single resource with your systems of paper reports and their transfer into digital allows for very much downsizing the number of paperwork. And then you switch to the digital document turnover. Here it shows by how much you should expand the system and how many transitions you do. And the next step is an expansion of the KPI list calculated, or the analysis of genealogy of products and technical maintenance control and so on and so forth. I will not deal with the details. I'll just tell you that whenever you unfold this system, you get a 3-level hierarchy, and this breaking down into levels. First of all, it is it meets the standard, and number two, it allows for maintaining those stringent cyber security and other requirements that are stringent. So it could be unfolded into a number of machines or individual machines. Of course, we worked with control systems that can be implemented on controllers and operator panels. These could be armors with cascades of products, but they could be different. But its task is to collect all the important information about production and equipment. So, and then a lot depends on the tasks set by the management. If, for example, you talk about a common data that are needed for dispatching or improving the efficiency, what kind of important information is that? That's the condition of every machine, its productivity, errors in the control system, to see the reasons for those losses and so on and so forth, number of faults and flaws, spoilages, also the engineering systems like HVAC, air and water should be also known. Also from the closed systems, it's important to get this information before the beginning of the project. The previous one spoke about the system that's already stipulates integration and data transfer. So lately we have this trend. We have plenty of closed systems without no source codes or backups. It's very difficult to get information from those. And then some extra collection systems are unfolded where you get connected to those meters or nodes of these closed systems of control. All of that goes to here, and then it transfers the data, processes the data, and according to the standards on every level, it stipulates an improvement of importance of information compared to raw data. This level is not for raw data, that's mid-level. There is a higher quality data, there is a calculation of KPIs and some initial elements of KPIs in real time. It's very important that here they organize such an integration platform. So there's a horizontal integration that says that if in the process of the implementation of this system, we are able to meet the goal of being integrated with laboratory control or like energy consumption or electricity consumption, then here at this level, we can count the KPI. So absolutely different KPIs that show not only the condition of the production itself, but also the energy efficiency and the quality and so on. So all these KPIs that are written in the standards 22400 ISO. And also that's a single controlling or traffic controlling point. So on this level, they collect all the important information about the whole production engineering system. The PMS, MAS are also specific systems that pertain to pharma and characterize it. For the purpose of efficient analyticals, we not only use data, real-time data, but also here we have base of reference documents. So where somewhere you should store all those calculation methodologies for KPIs, with all the specification, there should be models. The most important constituent of this technology, Digital, that I was just talking about. In other words, the model for a virtual facility, that's a group of models, a production model with all the workshops and levels, with all the other parameters connected here. We also have models for identification of all the events like downtimes and losses. You deal with integration here as well, because when it comes to pharma productions, the work is based on orders. You get an order and you execute the order, and these could be different kinds of integrations depending on a particular enterprise and how its business system, planning system is organized. If that's an advanced ERP system, then and they got some production modules, they might need data transferred on every batch, on every lot of products goes what pharma routes, and it shows in real time. And the second thing is this ERP system stipulates that upon completion of the production of this lot, there is an information tail coming in. All the data is transferred from production to get into those certificates, the documents I was mentioning. And at the in the very simplest case, this integration of MES and ERP is transfer of orders from ERP to MES. When we get an order for the production of a certain type of products, and it is tracked down as of its execution in the process of production. And of course, the top level, the dedicated safety level, is the level of visualization. So there is some sort of information portal that allows one to transfer data both inside the enterprise and also via a mobile client. This data could be obtained at the bottom and also via the internet. But the most modern solution is the dashboard, think quiet. How should it all look in customers' view? That's an example of dispatching system. ISA 101, the operation and operating information, productivity, handling, maybe faults, and so this is the interface. This is what is proposed to us. That's yet another information standard, international standard. So currently, it is considered to be wrong and inefficient to write some animation like bottles driving on conveyors. Now there is another system within the ISA system developed, which makes the operator or user that you glance at the screen within 5 seconds, you will see whether it is all in norm or are there any breaches of the technological mode. So this standard stipulate that you don't have to use the animation that distracts you. Those screens were hierarchically developed. There are first level screens with information, with aggregated information, the main information. For example, this one shows the engineering systems on water and air treatment, some aggregated data on line performance. There are second level screens on certain engineering systems, and if necessary, to specify the situation even more deeper, then the user may get to the fourth, third or fourth level screens. Here we have screens with all the events and with all the data, events of losses, events of downtimes, events of quality standard breach, and so on. And also order execution screen to illustrate the process of improving the efficiency via KPI and calculation. I want to assign a number of screenshots of the working system that was to analyze the efficiency of the use of the equipment. So only one of the KPIs is chosen. I'm just showing you the branch of only one KPI. Those indicators are used according to international regulations, and the sense, the meaning is that you sort of sag in for the analysis and go down, and it starts with tuning those dashboards for you individually. You can choose individual machines, you can choose individual lines, and just based on what particular equipment you want to analyze and look over. You're also looking at this particular period within which you want to look at the equipment. So that's a system to compare the operation of the same machine on different products, or for example, how the packaging or bottling of the same product is done on different lines. This is what is supposed to be analyzed according to this digital solution. For example, here you can see there is a lower OI factor, and here it shows that there were downtimes of the equipment, and it shows like two elements, washing and the other one. Here it shows you a number of events, downtime events. Here you can see the average time of downtiming and what categories of downtimes and their reasons. In other words, that allows for a full identification. In other words, getting characteristic of that downtime. For example, the machine fault, and the diagram at the bottom shows when exactly we observe those events. And those diagrams, you can increase, you can see what's the character of these events. Was a breach of the technology or the equipment? Is that chaotic, or is that a trend? Now, the next one constituent is the productivity. It shows losses of efficiency and diminishing the time because of the machine speed going down. Same analysis, the calculations of statistics, speed. For example, lower speed because of deterrent factors from outside of the machine, on the machine. Here it shows the productivity on an individual product. On the next one, is quality that shows a lower efficiency in the use of the equipment because of spoilage. Here, they also use product as the criteria. And this is data from a real project, and the implementation of this system has allowed them to detect in this project some multiple petty events, which is decline in productivity and downtimes that previously could not have been recorded automatically. When the models for detection of events and downtimes, the machine data was connected. So as a result of this kind of management, a major improvement in the operating pictures, operating values was achieved for liquid drugs. Two lines there were. OI went up to 50% because of lesser losses and decline in those fall of productivity events. This is what I wanted to say, all I wanted to say. Here, answering your question about the value, about the price, how much it is. Not especially some smaller farmers might ask, I will say. That's something that we can answer after our examination and making in terms of reference. So for URS, for example, if that's GMP. But at this stage, when all the requirements of users are gathered and formed as terms of references, when we do examination, then we see all the possibilities for integration with a lower level and other systems. Then we also detect the desires of our users to be, so the documents necessary for the system validation and acceptance. So without examination in terms of reference, we cannot arrive at particular technical specifications. It's neither the equipment for the integration nor software. So these works on integration, we always offer the customer to do this stage of audit, examination, and doing terms of reference. Thank you. Thank you, Vladimir, for your very detailed presentation. I think that in our magazine, you will also talk in the print material about some other aspects, where you will continue with this theme. Since we're out the schedule, we're switching to the other speaker, next one, and we're saying goodbye to you, Vladimir. Thank you very much. Thank you, Svetlana. Now I'm switching to our next speaker, who is Dmitry Gavrilik from Drug Card. Drug Card is a system that helps pharma industries to do monitoring for adverse events, for no efficacy of drugs or any other safety data. I think Dmitry will talk about it in more detail. So Dmitry, the floor is yours. Good afternoon, Svetlana. Hopefully I'm heard and seen well. Dmitry, I heard and seen. I'm just trying to put on translation. Okay. If I'm not heard, please tell me. I'm sorry for the Russian. I can't hear you, Dmitry. Pay attention. That should switch, and then push the right button. I'm trying. I will try to do it pretty fast. Just 15 minutes. My native language is Russian, but we're talking to CIS, where we're going to speak in Russian. My name is Dmitry. I'm the executive director of Drug Card and CEO, and we're doing the automation of monitoring in medical literature, and we are diminishing costs by a certain amount of percentage for the industries we've been operating for more than a year on different markets. And I will just start with a little marketing research. We said that about 58% of pharma companies that are now actually operating on the market, they are already using or planning to use cloud solutions for processes and pharmacovigilance, and about 20% of the systems that they are using fail to meet regulatory requirements. Unfortunately, these companies either don't understand anything or they sell their solutions to pharma companies. I mean, those outsourced ones. So it looks like non-compliance then eventually with the requirements of regulatory bodies. Okay, what are the processes that the companies are involved in? That's pharmacovigilance, that's adverse events processing, then periodic regulatory reporting, and that's signal detection and safety signal detection. The company detects that the drug has already been on the market with new data on safety and efficacy, then it is known to you. And other processes, 43% of the companies do it themselves in-house. We've taken the monitoring of medical literature because that's the point by which you can not only digitalize, as the previous speaker spoke, that there is Industry 4.0 and we're going to digitalization, but now we're trying to go even further. It's not only digitalization, it's the automation of processes that are not concerning production. It's no secret to anyone that we have a DMS, electronic document circulation system where you do your accountancy and you can place documents in it and they can process them and so on and so forth. But for the pharma, there is no solution that you would allow you to automatically fill these documents out. Now, so that now a non-specialist might do this, and we want to change the rules of the games for the pharmacovigilance. We want to be wants to change the system of pharmacovigilance, not just by digitalization. And people think that about 55% of companies use medical literature and other literature to detect data concerning the safety of drugs. Now, concerning how they do this, that's about 60% of the companies. They outsource this process. Then 10% use some sort of automation, 25% do it completely manually, and about 5% of the companies, they fail to meet regulatory requirements. And they don't do it, but they try to do it. If there is a pharmacovigilance specialist, they will understand me, or regulatory specialists. I worked for 8 years for a pharma company in the regulatory, and I understand perfectly well what it is. If we talk about financial problems, why they don't stick with the regulatory things, that it is costly. We were talking about $60,000 per employee on pharmacovigilance per year. So how is this literature monitoring done? The worker or employee has a number of journals that they have to read over a minimum once a week on all the markets where the company sells drugs. That's too much information. Different markets, different magazines, that's routine work. They read it manually and they look for the brands of the drugs from the companies. So we thought that 20 magazines like that for 40 drugs, by searching for 40 drugs, that's already one salary rate. That's a minimum one person to be employed to process through this literature. And we understand that this could be fully automatic. So what are the results? That's the motivation of the staff because There could be well-trained pharmacists and well-trained doctors working in pharmacovigilance. So that's how healthcare professionals, they don't want to do a routine job, because who will like just reading magazines? They want to make a decision. They want to make decisions that will impact the higher safety and patients eventually, and we can help them by scanning the data and by processing the data, storage the data, on the data, on the latest trends that everybody needs compliance within data integrity and not Excel spreadsheets. That's very important. Sheets, that's very important. Okay, what are the losses, financial losses for the company? It's too expensive to hire somebody who will do this. That's, of course, the risk of sanctions and fines from the regulators, especially in the EU, States, and Australia. Very expensive fines or risk of courts. You know, the last Pfizer's case, they lost a lawsuit. 500,000 euros. The Italian Pfizer has to pay that to a patient because of the wrong information about adverse events in the leaflet. They knew about the side effect, the adverse event. In other words, we can help the companies know about this adverse event. Actually, what do we do now? We have a platform which is an online service where the companies can automatically monitor the literature, so you don't need to invest money into hardware, and you can do it just in an online mode in your browser. We have modules, we have drug card, literature, we have a reference drugs module, and we have also a compliance and adverse reactions ADR module. I will walk you over very briefly these modules, and I will explain how they work and why we use only market technologies to deal with problems of our clients. We use neural networks not to monitor the information from available sources, but we can monitor the information from of any formats. That could be scanned magazines, that could be pictures, that could be any resource in any format. And this is how we're different from regular search. We will find what Google couldn't find, and we will identify the text. What is important? We have and we're implementing the natural language process, so we can process a text in such a way that we draw some clinical data out of it, and we can help the user understand that yes, there is real safety data on this article, while this one is a marketing article. So we that's probably one of the first cases when the company is working on such a level that it can introduce some AI mechanisms and neural networks on regular, like R&D, like drugs research, or somebody works somewhere like broken ampoules, they detect, and that's a visual processing of the visual image. We're doing this already by machines, because clients need a very accurate search, and otherwise it could be a non-compliance. Non-compliance will be found, and we're proud that we're working with more than 100 languages. So in other words, we work with any markets, with any countries. As to the monitoring of reference drugs, we also have the requirement that the company can monitor the leaflet instruction. That's the instruction of the original brand should be innovative drug should meet the one of the generic. If you got plenty of generics, so it is difficult to monitor all the original leaflets. We can help by sending a notification that we have this kind of leaflet instruction. You need to look it over and change. What's the use benefit for you? First of all, that's technical. Our software will cheaper to you rather than hiring people for monitoring of literature, for monitoring of reference drugs. This is compliance. We meet fully the GDP and GMP requirements. We have a validated system. We support the status and all the processes of the pharmaceutical quality system are implemented in our company. It's not just an IT company providing ready-made solutions. We're also using a pharmaceutical quality system. And what else? We have all the technical documents. We will not have any problem with the regulator if they come and say, show me how your software works. And we give an opportunity for support when it comes with to auditing. We support our applicants, our clients. Very important that we treat the information safety very seriously. We have certification, US Code 21, Part 11, CFR 21. And of course, it's very important for the EU and the States market. Data storage, just to summarize what I've said. We are an insurance to the regulators' fears, and we are an insurance of your reputation risks. It's not just software. We meet the local requirements, and we have neural networks to improve the efficiency of the efforts and automate the processes in real time, let alone the fact that we're generating reports that any regulator accepts, and we can help with fast processing of side events. We can take an adverse drug reaction, and that will be a new step to the industry. It's not just a system of document turnover. That's a system that will really prefill your documents. We have many implementations at this stage, but we've been working very actively and we've been proud of our customers. So one of the largest customers is Pharma, and we'll have a presentation here from Pharma, and we understand we're on the right path. And we're trying not only to digitalize, but we're trying to change the rules of the game in pharmacovigilance. Thank you very much. Questions on automation and anything maybe you want to try, you may write us. I'm Dmitry, and here are my contacts. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dmitry, for your presentation. Very, very much succinct and clear. Hopefully, we're going to have questions. You're going to have questions. And we want to continue. We want to continue with our next speaker. Actually, not actually speaker, Editor-in-Chief Galina. Galina Zerova will share her insights on cases from the pharmaceutical manufacturer. Galina, you're with us. Svetlana, good afternoon. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Our pharmaceutical Otrasl magazine been over the 5 years, over the 5 last years, we're actually in form of different 4.0 aspects, both Industry 4.0 aspects on our facilities and also on the pages of the magazine. We decided to do a little session on case studies or insights from pharmaceutical productions. Previous colleagues already talked about digitalization implementation in Ukrainian facilities. At least they mentioned that. But I would like to mention 3 projects that were or are being implemented at pharma industries that could were talked about in a way. And I would say that, you know, we might not know about some achievements of small and mid-sized businesses, pharmaceuticals. But just to be honest, compared to the money that one has to spend on those projects, I have certain doubts about the project they implemented. Now, about the project that they signed, and I would like to mention, that's the project of for cloud calculations on Azure, Microsoft Azure. That's an integral part of Industry 4.0 transformation. That's Darnitsa company, and Andrei Romanenko was talking about that. He's the Darnitsa ex-IT director. And this kind of job was done by Darnitsa with Infopulse together, who is the system integration, the digitalization project that was once prefectorally mentioned, that was being done together with the system integrator in the soft. And as far as I understand, the slides and the examples that were shown, they concern this particular project, and the project concerned the setting up of modern control systems for controlling the industry. It's not for dispatching or production status control, but it is also quality control function, production planning, and technical maintenance planning. And the third project that we were talking about today, I'm very grateful to Pharma, to this company for because they agreed to talk about their project. And this is the new innovation project, most modern solutions, number 7 on aseptic drugs and ampoules and vials, digital transformation of the company and utilization of new production. Alexander Lesichuk will talk about. He is from Farma, and while Alexander is joining us, I will try to say that this project, that Andrei, technical director of Pharma, said that this is one of the innovative constituents. That's an automated production with formulation control, with dossiers and minimization of the human factor. Alexander, please. We are ready to listen to your presentation. Thank you very much for joining us. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I will put my presentation on. Can you see my presentation? Yeah. Good afternoon, dear colleagues, dear forum guests. Today I will present to you coming up with a little presentation on information solutions on aseptic drugs in ampoules and vials. It was opened up, it was set up back in 2020. Many people wrote about it. Mass media, yes, this production side has implemented many upmarket technological solutions, and today I will talk about and focus on the information and digital solutions that are implemented in this project. You probably know the company Farma. That's the #1 pharma on the Ukrainian pharma market, and it is one of the most innovative examples. That's workshop #7 on aseptic drugs. And by how much innovations are necessary for the company, you can see by the digits, by the figures, because over 50 million euros went into the automation of this project, and 5 million is digital information technologies going to. And I will briefly deal with the things that our project has implemented. Historically, the pharma company was a long time cooperating with the Siemens company by using the Siemens solutions, starting from automation, like controllers, sensors, and also SCADA systems of different levels. We have a good relationship with Siemens Ukraine that's are providing methodology as support sometimes and consultative services. The background of digitalization is Somatic IT. That's a platform developed by Siemens just for you to build the systems from the initial level and then escalate it to a production control system. The most important requirement, top requirement, was maximum flexibility of workflows, and this is why the system of distributed process control was chosen. That is called Somatic PCS7, which is the most important automation component. You know that PCS7 is well known as modular architecture and give you an opportunity to use the upmarket technologies and the PCS7 totally meets all the requirements. All the control systems, so all the regulatory requirements are implemented as centralized access control and so on and so forth. Here on this slide, it shows the key advantages of the PCS7 system, that the high productivity, flexibility, scalability, universal methods, simple process control, handy in process controlling, visualization, imaging, and the technological workflow. We also stipulated for full backing up of the system. Both on the level of controller and on the other levels. It is also remarkable that the system is stipulating an interaction with information systems of the top level. It has solutions over the mesh for safety, integrated with a field level, and provides for flexible solutions for periodical, some prescription-based processes. Today, we're talking about ongoing control over technological process. You know that aseptic production, it is pretty difficult to get into a clean room. So new production had 15 technological workstations. Practically, that makes 15 clients on top of the 8 clients with the system itself. They provide remote access to the systems, to the engineering personnel, workshops, and production sites. They can observe the production from an office too. Also, we have unfolded a pretty big system of video surveillance, which numbers over 130 cameras, ongoing control over all the technological and logistic processes and movements. Part of the cameras are installed in clean areas and allow you to observe, for example, the aseptic bottling process. So the management of the workshop can also video monitor the process of production. The data from these video cameras is processed and integrated depending on the spot of a camera. Wherever the camera installed, that information might be stored at this archive, might be stored at 1 to 6 months. And for aseptics, it is being recorded in the process of including field test, and this information is already processed and stored according to a special procedure, 6 and more months. For the first time in our practice, we use software called Submit from Siemens, and that allows you to create a digital double for the beginning of the technological process, which allows you to test the technological processes in virtual surrounding. And we use that possibility on the FIT stage on formulation, improvement of formulation when we checked on all the technological phases and emergency setting of the process while the equipment was still being manufactured. So we saved a pretty big amount of time that we use then for launches of the equipment. And on top of this, this technology called Submit allows you to optimize and master new technological processes without pauses, downtimes in production. So we have a Submit for your technological workflow, technological skin, and we can test new solutions and recipes without prescriptions, without stopping the production. Earlier, you had to stop the production. A few words about managing engineering systems. That's another important constituent of the production process. The system provides for the right microclimate in the working premises, supports the optimal parameters of air exchange, temperature, humidity, and we also use it with the SIGO CC. That's SCADA from Siemens to do all size monitoring, both in the central control room and also from the technological workstations. This is to get connected to the system and see the setting. Apart from this, we did some local digital panels in the clean rooms where you will be able to see right from your work spot the parameters of microclimate, the data on the particle counter, which is very important when it comes to aseptic production. We have also unfolded the particle control in clean rooms system, and we use the system of monitoring LMS, Pharma from Lighthouse, and these meters have been installed in the previous projects as well. This project is using 17 points in production. On top of that, the system, on top of having their own clients, it also passes data to the signals to see which information can also be visualized to the information panels in clean rooms. Apart from that, there are alarm systems signalizing if they exceed the level of particles. A few words about paperless production. Fharma has launched the pilot project with EBR together with Siemens. You know that this application totally meet the GMP levels, norms. We trust the Siemens company as they launch the tested solutions now. It's a pilot project, but next stage will be the unfolding of EBR system in a new project. Big investments, about 6 million euros invested in this project. In this project, we decided to unfold all the systems on a single server platform. We thought about a choice a long time, our choice, but eventually we built this system together with BM Ukraine based on blade chassis, blade carcass. We used historian and a module for data storage by Siemens, and we got a pretty powerful platform, which we are planning to use to grow these modular systems. EBR will be unfolded there, and maybe systems for production control will be approached then. A few words about digitalization. So currently, because of the pandemic, we can pretty instantly transfer data in pharmaceuticals. The technologies are being accelerated. So automation, digitalization of processes is not a purpose as is. It is an urgent need, and this really defines the efficient strategy of pharma for the short run and for the long run. I'm done. Alexander, thank you very much for this very interesting and full presentation about your works. You got plenty of interesting technological novelties. It's a new production, but you got, I would say, more aged equipment. But do you want to spread this digitalization system to the production that was before at Pharma? If yes, then how are you going to do this? Because to the best of my understanding, the new equipment that is delivered, submitted, supplied, already has the elements for real-time following. But the 20 years ago, the equipment of 20 years ago that you also have, how are you going to deal with that problem, that issue? Well, for example, we have a pilot project that we're launching in workshop number 1 that was created back 20 years ago. We started our pilot project with that production, but how much possible we're gonna implement those solutions in part. And basically, Pharma, in my experience, are doing modernization of the existing productions. So now they're dealing with the matters on the sterilization and track and trace systems. They install new digital systems. So we're moving in this direction. While this project, workshop number 7, is the flagship fragment that will be used to pilot the lead technology. Thank you very much for joining us. Very interesting project. All successes we wish to the pharma company. Hopefully you will report on the further successes later. Thank you very much. Galina Alexander, thank you for being with us, for sharing your time. And since we're very much out of schedule, we're going to switch to our next speaker. And I would like to invite Alexander Chupranko, who is the business architect from SAP. Alexei, good afternoon. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Can you see my presentation? Okay, now I'm not gonna be a barrier between the conference and lunch, just to try to go as quick as possible over the agenda. But it was a digital transformation, not a hearsay. As a SAP, we're doing a lot of pharma jobs, over 40 years already, and one of our first clients in Germany among pharma was actually Pharma back in 2074. They're world known, they're top 10 companies. They were our first customers. And since then, we became the standard in the industry in many areas. That's not only ERP, that's not only pharmacovigilance and management of pharma productions. That's also innovative themes like the Industry 4.0. That is buzzword, and there's a whole consortium of pharma companies that are all customers, and they set standards and they meet challenges, and they are part of they're among them the top 10 vaccine developers. And I will leave you the hyperlinks on how you can get into that consortium. And SAP and pharmaceuticals they don't exist standalone on their own, but that's a whole system that includes the industries and diagnostic equipment and the manufacturers of that equipment and pharmacies. Over the last decades, we worked on SAP solutions, trying to make them available to little and mid-sized business. We've been working with Pharma, with Modernizация on ERP solutions, and I will tell you in what directions we've been cooperating, in what areas. So Industry 4.0, I think you've been told a lot what attributes the companies must have, why artificial intelligence needs to be used in their business processes, how Internet of Things works, and how it makes life of business easier. Purpose is making, first of all, shareholders more happy and make more available business models for the clients. SAP today has a clear-cut roadmap. First of all, how we arrived at that by evolution, by digitalization. Digitalization is not the most important trend. There are many digital companies, and Pharma and Darius hit that road a long time ago. Now, Industry 4.0 is a full compliance will be intelligent enterprise, the attributes of which are the use of predictive models and artificial intelligence and learning machines. SAP roadmap is clearly compliant with how to get to that by fast and low resources. SAP started with in the last year the program Rise with SAP. It has all the necessary components, including branch-related components for pharmaceuticals that allows you to pretty quickly come to that with the use of all the necessary attributes of the Industry 4.0. The core of it is the ERP system, of course. It's not just an integrated system as it was plenty many years before, like a binding link, like a glue, like a DNA, the DNA of all the company, with all the processes related, development, logistics, production, personnel, finances, and so on. All the basic components are present here. Now let's look at the architecture components that and processes that are required by our manufacturers. That's always standards, that's always compliance. And when it comes to developments, that's a possibility to use as many as possible institutes, third parties, counter agents, and other partners that take part in this process to make the prototype better, to build a dossier of all the products we were developing, to walk through all the verification stages on how to get a permit for production, to do testings, and so on and so forth. So the previous speaker spoke about the document turnover system, and practically all our clients make their dossiers in pharmacovigilance and our technologies, and this is not simply a document turnover system. It is related to e-signature systems, and it is also bound to the technological parameters that we get from the laboratory and the production itself, manufacture itself in the system. In its developments is to have data from everywhere, from research institutes, from their proprietary quality laboratories, from production, from technological departments. So in other words, it's big data. And this big data can be used by artificial intelligence to use to find the best combination of a substance according to the therapeutic properties. Bayer and GlaxoSmithKline used SAP for their developments to get a max result when it comes to struggling with cancer and creating creating innovative drugs that would quickly walk through the life cycle of approval. And as to the sources of supplies, SAP has a platform with plenty of international suppliers. It's not a local tendering platform. It's a Paribas network for cooperation between the supplier and manufacturer to track down the quality, to track down the commercial conditions, and to build up a disciplined work with the supplier. Production is standalone theme. I will quickly switch to it. SAP has big possibilities of working with any hardware and software complexes that our clients utilize. Alexander was talking about semantic, and SAP has a standard bus to interact with Siemens, and we've been cooperating with Siemens. We've been exchanging technologies. We've been friends a long time, but Siemens is not the only supplier. We have many standard protocols for data exchange. We have our own system. We want to control the pharma processes from cloud, not ground-based. They still have a possibility to unfold their landscape on the ground on their own servers, but the future belongs to clouds. And SAP for interaction of production processes for contract production of global pharma companies. They've been operating in a pharmaceutical cloud a long time. Logistics-wise, that's a digital supply chain, especially popular in America and Europe, where the cold chain we have for distribution of vaccines. And it works with the use of Internet of Things and collection of big data for an analysis of compliance with quality conditions and distribution of vaccines. And what Pharma are doing is finished products warehouse and then meets the A-class version SAP technologies integrated with software, hardware warehouse. Now let's look in more detail at the production levels. Alexander from Pharma was talking about the level of PCS. That's execution of the technological process in close integration with the equipment in aseptic production. SAP has a level of a production bus that provides a communication with that, and of course it supplies with this data all the systems that are around the production, placed around the production. That system for digital signatures to prepare the reporting on protocols. That's pharmaceutical SOPs. That's data collection for quality. That's the LIMS system, quality control production, PL, and of course the accounting, writing out the materials, the lot control, batch control. Track and trace system was also mentioned. SAP has a technology or a track and trace in pharmaceutical companies, and it works in many large companies in Ukraine. It is not yet used by anyone, but we're working in this area, and we can look at it in details. There's a partner expert evaluation that really tunes the hardware and software. And the SAP is the software, hardware is our partners, track and trace, serialization, labeling, printing of identifiers, application of labeling, and then reporting and to regulatory bodies. And as I have already said, there's already clouds with digital double. That's a protocol. That's really confirmed protocol with controlled execution of the workflows. Plenty of standards when it comes to this. And here there's a hyperlink to our white papers, mostly that also contain a roadmap on how to walk through validation and CFRs were mentioned, like federal rules, code of federal rules, controls. And now correspondence with the compliance with the best practices and e-management in production. And of course, the value of tuning the system on SAP technologies is obvious and always for CEO of the companies, because there are related and connected processes, and it gives economic efficiency, which is tested on many customers. That's the efficiency from beginning to the operation and support phase, monitored and kept track of all the time. And this is an object of mastering of your landscape and transition to other rails. Intelligent companies and projects related to optimization. Pharma, first of all, introduced an ERP system as an SAP standard. Now they're moving to optimize and more clear, more carefully plan our operations, predict demand, and also personnel training, logistics, as I've already mentioned. And actually, this is always an ongoing possibility to develop the priorities of a company are changing throughout the life cycle of the company. And that allows for max economic effects. Our main clients now are companies with a turnover of at least $1 billion. So 85% of the world pharmaceuticals markets is companies with little budgets, so that are pretty quickly build up the centralization possibilities. I'm ready to talk about it in more detail with each of the conference participants, and how to get to it. We can have info from our resources. They all have hyperlinks and also a solution map for pharmaceuticals that covers more than one solution, plenty of solutions. ERS systems, track and trace system, pharmacovigilance, and links in detail about the production, and also about R&D, and I will be ready to support any dialogue with your representatives of the companies. I'm done. Hopefully, I fit in the best way into the regulations. So the result is that SAP is a reliable partner of digital transformation of your business. Thank you for your presentation, Alexei. I don't want to be a barrier between this event and lunch. So thank you very much, Alexei. I think the interested people will get your presentation. So after that, I think there will be some questions, and we hope that the presentations have stirred up our audience and they will understand better many things. If not, then write the participants and they will talk about everything and answer your questions. And our next event will take place in December, will be dedicated to innovative solutions on TLF, technology and equipment production. Watch our announcements and see you again.